Hey guys, use number 251 today for my Nacet. It'll be going into this. I believe it's a 51. Hey, the numbers match. How about that? Not intentional, but neat. This is a UK. You can see by that flat bottom underneath the base plate there. This is a Junior Aristocrat. We're going to be using Dr. Dittmar soap. It's a German soap, and it came in this little metal bowl. Put a little water in it, as you can see, so that it would bloom a little bit. Semogue C5 Torga, kind of a new brush. The last couple of months it's been out. Premium boar bristles, and it's kind of stubby and short. It's meant to be scrubby. And it's doing really well. Doesn't eat lather anymore like a lot of young boars do. I think what, 11 uses maybe I'm currently on. Putting some water on my face. Soften up the whiskers. I meant to mess with my blade before that, but you know, sometimes it's nice not to have your timing be right. Sometimes it's nice to know that you're not a machine on autopilot all the time. This is my washcloth that I have over here on the sill. That's where I put all my wet stuff when I'm done using it. All right, so that's ready to receive the blade and all that. So let's open this. Now, if you look, this handle here, it's seen better days, but it's a great shaver, and this doesn't impact performance. Here's that solid base plate, the flat base plate that tells you for sure it's a UK vintage Gillette and not one made in America. And with the UK Gillettes, they give them numbers. They give them set numbers. It's not actually a number belonging to the razor. It belongs to the box that it came in. So we've got the 3 dots there to signify and show you that it's the same Nacet I've been using for so long. Still see the bend in the blade and you can see the warp in the edge as well that I put on it at about use 225. I'm going to take the dots, put them toward the handle so you can't see the dots there. That's just a little thing I've done in the beginning since this razor. And since this blade was used, I decided, hey, why don't we always keep it the same orientation, and then at the end, when I feel like I can't go any farther, I'll flip it, see what the difference is. Is it going to let me go further after that, or is it just not going to work? You know, so that'll be interesting to see. All right, I got my whiskers wet already, so we can go ahead and start loading the soap. Try to make it a little quick one tonight. So most of this soap just kind of sits in the tub, and there's an empty space here at the bottom because it gets so narrow. Sorry about the light coming on and off there. And so the soap kind of sat in water and kind of didn't, but at least it got a little moist on the top. So let's shake out a lot of the water. Why don't we just try a 30-second load? Let's go 40 since we don't know how it's going to be. Went around to, oh man, this thing's moving around so much. I'm going to have to hold part of it with my thumb and see if that helps. One of the things you can do is shred it with a cheese grater and then press those shreds into this little bowl, you know. See, the soap isn't going all the way to the bottom of the bowl, and so there's room for it to pivot and move around and stuff. I'm putting my thumb in there to stop it from moving around somewhat, and with all this foam that's coming up, it looks like I'm getting a pretty good load. So this soap is a cousin to the now sometimes if you leave it kind of like that with some water and lather around it, then it'll cement itself in place. I'm going to clean out the bottom of the bowl here. There we go. This is a cousin to the Gold Docs. I used that a few, like, I don't know, last week or something. And some information I found online said that the Dr. Dittmar is the one who kind of invented the formula in the soap, but then his son got tricked by a business partner, and that's how Gold Docs was created. And I think that's how I read it. And what they did was Dittmar is almost the same formulation as the Gold Docs. Well, that's good news because the Gold Docs is a great performer. And the article said that this is a vegan soap, so we have that. And what Dr. Dittmar did was he took out one of the ingredients that was sometimes causing people allergic reactions. It probably won't with me. I don't have a tendency to that sort of thing. And then the article also said that the Dittmar soaps are compressed a little bit more than the Gold Docs soaps. And so they're slightly different weights and things like that. Well, we've got the start of a very nice lather. And this is a soap that's a part of my hard soaps tour. I don't have too many more left. Got to dig out and try to find my salter, my Cyril salter. It's a Puck of Lavender hard soap from the UK. I've got my vintage Puck of Williams. Since that takes a little bit more work and I'm a little short on time tonight, I didn't use that one. I knew this was going to be a good lather. Now this has a very minimal scent. It's, I don't really know how to describe it. Online, somebody said there was one that kind of almost had a cinnamon kind of potpourri note to it. And this could be that, maybe, but it's very light, so it's hard to tell. And so in my computer, I put in unknown, since I don't know exactly which one this is. But since it's going to be close to Gold Docs in terms of performance, I'm confident it's going to do well. I can already feel the slickness in my fingers. Don't know that I've used any Dr. Dittmar soaps yet. So I could let that soap dry with the hopefully the lather that's around it maybe acting to start cementing that into place. If it doesn't work out that way, then maybe, shred some of it or something like that and make it fit into that dish. If I want to keep it around, since it doesn't have too much of a scent, I might pass it on. I don't know. So we've got 2 teaspoons of water in this lather. I'm still kind of wired up from traveling with caffeine keeping me awake, even though it's really late and I've got to go to work, get up for work in just a few hours. It's not going to be a pretty day tomorrow. But I'd rather shave now than shave in the morning when I'm delirious. So I might not be too picky with my lather tonight. Yeah, just a very, very light scent. Enough to give it some character. Maybe. Put a little bit more water in there. All right. I'm going to just kind of do the plunge method here. Sometimes that's a really good way. It seems like when you've got a decent mix and you just want to make sure that it's mixed well, just kind of pushing it down and going around the wall. Oops, see, I looked up at you instead of at the bowl, and I guess I went too close to a wall. And you can, it just seems to get a good mix when I do that. I guess it circulates what's in the brush. Just make sure that everything is kind of equalized. That's what we want. All right, water again on my face. Yeah, 24 hours of growth is all we're going to work on today. And I do have hard water here. I like this little brush, soft but scrubby. Seems to have similar brush density as the Semogue 2000, but then the 2000 has longer bristles. So you're not going to get as scrubby a feel to it. And some people might even consider the 2000 to be a little floppy. I don't, but I also put a couple of O-rings on it to bring in the splay a little bit, keep it kind of controlled. So we've got good coverage now, and I feel like the mix is good. So what I'm doing is giving it a little extra time to work into my skin, have the brush do some cleaning, that sort of thing. I think I've got the water nailed pretty good. And I do like to, as you can see, I'm kind of rolling the side lather out off the brush on occasion, because if you let that stay on there too long, a lot of times you'll see the suds fly off, as you have seen perhaps in this video. All right, just some painting strokes to smooth out the layers and stuff. So this Aristocrat Jr. is on my list of razors to try with the Nacet. The Nacet's so old that, you know, I can't use it on my mild razors because it's just too smoothed out. Doesn't give me a good cut. So I made a list of all my non-mild razors, or ones I was unsure about. And I've gradually been working for, I don't know, the last 20 shaves or so. Gradually been working through that list to see which razors will still work with the Nacet. So far the best ones have been the Black Beauty adjustable from Gillette, the vintage, and the Fatip open comb. Now this is a smoothed out blade, and so you definitely, with most razors, you're not getting as much hair removed in that first pass as you are with a younger blade. But as long as it does it in 4 passes, I'm fine with that. Just means that pass 2 and 3 are working with more stubble than usual, you know, and as long as they still take care of it by the time I'm done, I'm good. Most of the time I have a pretty good shave by the end of pass 3, and pass 4 is really just kind of a touch-up. It's all about angles and geometry. So since I did feel kind of some stubble, I'm going to go ahead and just repeat this kind of the same pass with a predominantly with the grain motion to it, direction. And yeah, you can see how I'm making short strokes. I found that to be how I prefer to work with this old blade. It also helps me to adjust my angle as I go. When you do the longer strokes, you've got to move your angle properly as you make curves and things like that. You've got to really know your stuff. All right, a little rinsing. So this lather is definitely maybe either perfect or on the wet end of perfect. Well, I'm sure we're going to have some lather available at the end of the thing to kind of review it. Look at the slickness. Not a lot of it actually, but some. So I'm glad I did load for as long as I did. May have to review this before I put on the 4th pass, assuming I need to, because I do not have a lot of it. And this little brush just feels good. I'm getting good glide from this soap, so it is definitely a contender. And I think somebody posted online that it just didn't cost very much per puck. So let's just grab some of this here. Yeah, I've hydrated it. Probably it's a vegan soap, so you're not going to get that buttery, kind of slickness, but it's very slick. It has a thin, soapy kind of slickness, not really oily. Just kind of a general soapy feeling, slick soapy feeling, which is great. It gives you good glide and seems to be protecting my skin well. Not luxurious per se, but pretty sure it's not really positioned at a luxurious price point. At least for maybe Europeans. Maybe it's more expensive for Americans. It didn't really do too much tugging on that first pass, and then it's been better and better after that in terms of comfort. So as long as the closeness is good, this might be one of the nice contenders for use. Still got kind of a shadow, more than I might like. Let's go ahead and do a neck only pass after this rinse. All right. So looks like if I wanted this lather to be a little bit more luxurious, I could back off on the water. Have it have a little bit more creamy feel. Yeah, excellent glide here. And now I'm going to switch, come at this part from this side. Kind of what I have to do. I'm sure you figure out ways to come at your different little trick spots, Hey, that might look pretty good. Let's go underneath the base plate. Put on a little touch-up lather there. I think that'll have to do. Like I said, tonight's a quick night. All right. I'll rinse that out. Rinse my face off in a minute. Squeeze out the brush. Let's just check out the lather right quick. Not very much left in the bowl. So in terms of economy today, I pretty much hit it right on the money. This is a very wet lather, very wet, but you can see it's holding together nicely. It still has a nice sheen to it. It provides good slickness, and this is a truly hard soap, and so you are going to get a lot of uses. A lot of other soaps will break down when it's this wet, and you'll see the razor kind of skipping across my face or hopping and jumping because there's just the soap is not handling all that water, and it's kind of overhydrated. But this guy right here, he's very nice to be this hydrated. That is really good. Not really any scent to speak of as I've been shaving. So with that in mind, I might pass it on to somebody else, because I do have the Gold Dox, which has a little bit of scent, and I've got so many others, hard soaps that just do really well, you know, performance-wise. All right, I'm gonna clean up my stuff. Well, I think I've given this guy a nice little workout over the last several shaves, so I think I feel the freedom to move on. I think he is able, many of the tips have split nicely, and we can, sometimes with borers, they can develop slowly if you use them, you know, infrequently. And so I just wanted to hit it hard with several shaves in a row, and now I think it's capable of being used normally in whatever soap I want. And I believe it's been that way for a few shaves now. So we'll start branching out. It's a nice little guy. All right, 251 is in the books, loaded for, I don't know, 40 seconds on a slightly moistened puck, and I used 2 2 2/3 teaspoons of water. And I just went and put my 251 dot right there. So for the past while, we have been putting groups of 10 over here. So now we'll move on to this panel. And when that fills up, I guess I've got some room. Yeah, I've still got some room up here that I can keep going on. Weird problems to have, right? Very good. Yeah, we talked about the water, and it looks like the 51 might be a good razor to keep on hand with where the blade is right now. Seems to be doing a decent job. So we'll use it a few more times and see if it's consistent like that. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna, I just rinsed it. I relieved the pressure a little bit there to get some airflow. Give it a good, you know, shake. And I'm just gonna very carefully put it out of the way of the kids. And ready for tomorrow. So I'll talk quickly about this little bowl. I think it's a decent addition to a sink, countertop. If you are looking for something with you know, a little bit of class, simplicity, the construction seems to be pretty good. The thickness of the metal, I'm not able to really bend it very easily by simple squeezing. It is kind of unfinished on the bottom part, but I don't really care too much about that. Nice chrome finish. Hey, there's the phone I used to record. And you know, it's not welded, the knob's not welded on, it's got a bolt there. The you know, the lid here is curled over, rolled over. Stainless steel, of course, I'm sure. I'm trying to squeeze it, and it's thick enough to almost not move at all. So I think the construction here on this little bowl is pretty good. So if you think that might look good sitting on your sink countertop, and there it does have etched the Dr. Dittmar kind of info there. But you know, for those people who I don't know that there may be too many videos out there of this soap, so I'm glad to put out a couple. Maybe I'll use it one more time, maybe with a big old badger brush or something like that. You know, somebody might really enjoy it to be their main soap on the sink, you know, because it's got a nice little presentation there. So since I'm about to go to bed, let's just use something easygoing non-alcoholic, non-mentholish Lucky Tiger Aftershave Face Tonic, aloe vera type stuff. Orange, slight orange scent to it. I do see length in several hairs. I'm glad I checked that. It's so yeah, maybe the 51 is just a little too mild. It's a great razor that I really enjoy in all other situations when the blade's a little bit younger. I really like the way it shaves. Man, the UK razors, the UK vintage Gillettes, the Aristocrats, even the simple ones, the Techs, and especially the Techs and the Aristocrats are just, and the Rockets are just so good. I really like the way they shave. All right, guys, well, that'll do it. I hope there's something good for you in this video that helps you out. If you're just curious about Dr. Dittmar soaps, then maybe this is good help. Maybe it's the only one or one of few that were made kind of in English-speaking type videos. I bet there's some German guys out there that have recorded using it. But it's a good soap in my opinion. It's a hard-packed one, so it should give you a long life for the quantity that you get. And I believe it's kind of inexpensive, and it's got a nice lather to be inexpensive. And so especially if you are sensitive to scents, to the fragrance oils and different things that might cause reactions, this is almost unscented, and I don't think it's going to cause any issues in terms of that. So, you know, that might be a good soap, especially for certain folks. All right. So yeah, this razor did cut me a little mild today. Just left a little bit too much length on a few of the hairs there. So I'll put it in the too mild section. But comfortable. Blade still going strong. The brush did great. It just worked really well with this lather, and this wasn't a thick lather, and so the lather wasn't masking or compensating or softening the brush, you know, and so this is just a wonderful little brush in my opinion. I love the handle, the resin handle. Feels good and ergonomic even for my big hands, and even when you get so much soap on that handle. So good stuff. All right, I'm happy with this one. So this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Good night.